I have just successfully tested a leveling strategy in World of Warcraft that will make goblins and dragons alike jealous of its lucrative and efficient gains. A strategy that will get you to level 70 and beyond in a surprisingly quick amount of time. I've gotta say that I fully prepared to spend multiple weeks on this character, but it didn't even take me one. In fact, it was faster than questing in some expansions, and you can make almost 10 times the amount of gold while doing it. Here's how to fill your wallet while leveling your character. I'm gonna tell you the how, the why, and give you everything you need to know to maximize your gains with this leveling method. For this strategy, I chose to play as a Drakthir. Very few races love gold more than dragons after all, but it was for more reason than just theming. The strategy is leveling through gathering, which sounds a bit crazy. Believe me, I thought it was dumb too. This is kind of why I started doing it, but my expectations were blown out of the water. In fact, I could have made even more gold than I actually did. This was done during the recently ended leveling event Blizzard put out, which gave up to a 30% EXP increase between a flat buff and some XP potions. While it did speed up my journey, it also gave me less chance to make gold. But here's how the strategy works. In Dragonflight, Blizzard completely revamped the profession system for World of Warcraft. The biggest changes that affect us today is professions give XP. Both crafting and gathering will level up your character. While I don't normally do crafting, I am a big fan of the new gathering professions. Well, they aren't new, it's still herbalism and mining, but they do have talent trees now, which allows you to gather better materials and more of them per node. I'll talk about how to get a butt ton of skill points in these trees a bit later. With this newfound XP source, it is possible to level a character in a moderately quick amount of time while absolutely printing money. The first thing you are going to want to do is make a character, obviously. If you really want to min-max this, there are races that give bonuses for gathering professions, for example the Tauren, but more importantly, Drakthir. They get a free boost to their perception, which allows them to find higher quality resources per node. In addition to that, they get access to a racial ability called Soar. It's really just turning yourself into a flying mount, but there's some hidden uses to this. Now, one of the bonuses that the gathering talents give once you reach a certain level in the talent trees is the ability to gather while staying on your mount. It's a great ability, it does save time. However, I actually found that the Drakthir's Soar ability is even more efficient. Yes, gathering while mounted saves you some time because you don't have to resummon your steed, but you can actually run into a problem with that. You'll run out of stamina pretty fast. There are also so many flowers and mining nodes around that you don't have to fly very far to get between them. And while the Soar ability from Drakthir does have a cast time, it also gives you a free leap into the air, which is one less stamina bubble that you have to spend going from flower to flower. In practice, I would regularly have a full stamina bar using Soar, while staying mounted would lead to an empty bar that I would have to wait to fill up. So yes, you do save some time, but only initially. This is because when these talents were initially designed, there was a perk in the game that gave you stamina back after gathering resources, but now that's out of the game. So while you can be pretty efficient without being a Drakthir, just watch your stamina. This leveling method is going to take place in the Dragon Isles, which has beautiful zones to explore. If you don't like the questing here, don't worry, you don't have to do a single quest using this strategy. Out of the 4 leveling zones, I would recommend using the Onaran Plains. It is the most efficient zone to fly around in, relatively level with minimal trees and mountains. All the other zones are either filled with high cliffs or tall trees. It also has relatively safe resource spawns. Yes, you will have to get rid of some mobs here and there. I would recommend using heirloom gear while using the strategy to keep your item level up, but you can mostly avoid confrontation in the Onaran Plains. This is a map of the usual route that I took. If you want, you can also look up old gathering guides and follow those paths, but my general rule is to stick to the edges. Less mobs, frequent node spawns, and the views are pretty incredible. Overall, it took me only 11 hours to get to level 70, which is actually faster than questing in Shadowlands, Wrath of the Lich King, and the Burning Crusade, while being almost as fast as questing in BFA, Cataclysm, and Legion. Speaking of questing, I recently did a series leveling a character through each expansion in retail World of Warcraft. The most amount of gold I got from any of those expansions was from Warlords of Draenor at 7,500. The average average amount I got was actually between 4 and 5,000. In my journey from level 10 to 70 using the gathering method, I made a whopping 37,000 gold, while matching the questing times of some expansions. Now, my rules were I could only gain experience with gold in the forefront of my mind. This mostly meant mining and herbalism, but the Dragon Isles do have world quests. Some of them give a decent amount of gold as their reward, namely the dragon riding races. They give about 100 gold per completion, which is a lot, but they also give a quarter of a level each. So 4 of them would only give about 400 gold per level. In total, I averaged 610 gold per level, so it's really a trade-off of time versus profit. In addition to all this, gathering nodes are coded to use rested XP. I used a bit of it in my journey, but you could fully AFK farm this method, waiting a few days in a rested area, then doing about an hour of gathering. Again, this method will give you as much gold as you tailor it towards. You can play the market or play time. Here are some extra tips to capitalize on this strategy, to make it even better than it was for me. You can buy profession gear that increases your gathering stats. In total, there are 3 stats that give different bonuses, as well as an overarching one called skill. The 3 tertiary stats are finesse, which increases how much you gather per node, deftness, which increases how fast you mine and pick flowers, and perception, which I already mentioned increases the quality of your gathers. The profession gear can be tailor-made to boost these stats. I chose not to invest as I really didn't know if it would be worth it, but using my server as a reference, the 2 pieces of profession gear will cost you about 1,800 gold for mining and 2,100 for herbalism. Not quite worth the full investment, however, most of the cost comes from one of the 2 pieces. The cheaper of the 2 costs around 400 gold for both professions. That would probably be more worth the investment. The speed of leveling picks up insanely after level 40. This is when the XP required per level goes down, while the XP gained per node goes up. So if you don't want to do gathering the entire time on your character, do it after level 40, that'd be the best time. Not all resources are made equal. While gathering, you will get 2 abilities, 1 per profession. They will allow you to overload special nodes to give elemental resources. I found that for mining, overloading the fire node was the best, and for herbalism, either the wind or the ice nodes. They fluctuate a bit, but generally those 3 are worth the most. Speaking of worth the most, if you only wanted to choose one gathering profession, mining makes more money, by a decent amount. The actual ores sell for more than the flowers do. Herbalism is great for getting ice and air resources, but if you want pure bang for your buck, go with mining. I mentioned earlier that there is a way to get a bunch of additional talent points for your profession. I just want to note that you can't get them right away, but you can eventually get around 55 extra points to spend on your gathering talents. They have to do with this NPC in Valdrakken. You can find them right next to the profession order area right here, using a currency that you get from discovering new talent points. Yes, it's a bit odd because the books you buy will give you more of this currency, but you can buy these manuals to give the points. And that's about it. I don't want to drag this on too long. I will say I plan to go into the War Within and level only using gathering there too, so if you want to see the result of that, make sure to subscribe. If you have any questions, I will answer all of them in the comments below. Hit that like button if you found this useful or had a good chuckle at my crazy ideas. My name has been Kale. Have a wonderful journey.